Slenderman walked in the forest normally like he would always do on his daily routes, stalking children and such. He usually stopped at the particular park near an elementary school to watch and study the humans. On his way back, he felt himself being watched. He turned sharply and quick to see who had followed such a monster like him, but when he turned around, no one was there. The boy in an oversized beige-colored hoodie noticed a tall man watching his schoolmates one afternoon. He would see the man there every day for weeks to come. He wanted to ask the formally dressed man why he did such, but always got too nervous to go up to him and ask himself. So the young boy decided to follow him. Slenderman smelt the human. The young child's fear was way too noticeable for him not to. He proceeded to approach the tree the hooded absolute was hiding behind, but stopped. Slenderman knows he's scared. His job is to make children scared. That's what he did. He turned and teleported away. Boy in the oversized hood waited for a few seconds to turn around to see if the tall man was there. He looked on the ground and found a tree branch. He picked it up and wielded it. He heard a gust of wind and spun around. The man was gone. The boy breathed heavily and started to walk back to the park. He waited for his mom to pick him up and take him home. I can't believe I was too shy to approach him, the boy thought to himself. He lay down under a shady tree next to his favorite swing set, and he stared up at the clouds and thought, Why does he watch everyone? It's so creepy. Someone needs to tell him to knock it off. He lay down under the tree in snow for about 15 minutes and would think to himself, Why does he dress up so nicely just to look at people? Hey, come on, get in. He heard his mother shout from the car. Coming, the hooded boy said, jumping up and grabbing his school bag. He hopped in the back seat and the boy's brother shouted from the front, Hey, that's my sweater, you punk. Yeah, and it smells nasty, just like you, the hooded boy shouted. Sweetie, will you please take off the hood? You look like a thug, their mom asked. Oh, come on, Mom, I'm in 6th grade. I can wear whatever I want. You mean my clothes, pipsqueak, the older boy in the front whispered. Fine, I know it's your hoodie, and I'm just borrowing it. Jeez, it gets cold around this time of year. When the family got home, the oldest son took the car and left to meet up with some friends. Why does he always leave? The boy asked his mom. Well, I'm sure over this weekend he'll spend some time with you, she said, smiling. Do you want some hot cocoa after I start the fire? She asked him, kicking some snow away from the front door. Yeah, sure. The hooded child's life was unfulfilling. He was unhappy with his home life, and after his father died, he too felt like there was no purpose on living. The hooded boy tried to commit suicide numbers of times, but he could never pull through with it. All he had left of his dad is a butterfly knife. The Slenderman had to confront his stalker. He went about his normal route and followed his scent. He was led to an old track home. The scent was strong, but it was even stronger in a different direction, so he followed the stronger scent. It was the boy in his late teens. He was at that park with some other male humans. Slenderman studied his actions and plotted his death. No humans are supposed to even know he exists. He was eager to possess his life. He watched him live and be for a few short hours. He then headed back to his home, as did the teen. Ah, you're home. Why don't you spend some time with your brother of yours? Their mom suggested. Oh, all right, the youngest son said. He went up to his room and grabbed a small clear tub with Legos and Bionicles. Ah, for real? We're actually going to hang with me? The hooded boy said. Sure. I like Legos anyway. The older boy smiled playfully. Slenderman looked through the window at the two humans cheerfully playing building games. The scent was strong and so was the urge to kill, but he refrained. The weekend went by normally. Slenderman stayed at a distance. Slenderman watched his prey move about his normal lifestyle and do his activities such as school. Monday morning, while the youngest boy was sleeping in the older son was talking to his mom. Slenderman thought that he was talking to her about him. He took this as a threat, but in reality, he was just asking to hang out with his friends, but she denied. His begging made the illusion that he was trying to convince her that the tall man existed. The older son stormed out into his room without another word. Whoa, where am I? The hooded boy thought as he sat up. He was in the woods across the park he waited in after school. He looked around, then stood up and reached for something that caught his eye. It was a piece of paper. The boy said. He touched the wrinkled page nailed to the tree. It had a picture of a stick figure surrounded by trees and the word no written all over the page. What am I supposed to do with this? He said aloud. He put it in both his hands and studied it. Before he rippled it off the tree, he turned around to be surrounded by black tentacles covering every inch of him until he screamed awake. He fidgeted around his bed, thinking of ways to protect himself, but he remembered his dad's butterfly knife. He had left it for him. He slept with it in his hands, just to be safe. He knew it was wrong, but the next day he decided it was best to carry it around everywhere he went, so he did. The day went by and it was Tuesday evening, and the two brothers just got home from school. Hey, want to hang out at the park? The oldest brother asked the younger one. I guess. I don't really want to, the hooded boy told him. Oh, come on, how come? He suggested. I don't know. It's really stupid, creepy park. The oldest brother was in one of those moods where he wouldn't take no for an answer. But yeah, I'll go. The brother was ecstatic by this. Awesome. I'll bring the frisbee. Just let's grab Mom's car keys. Here, and take the house key. He was throwing the key change to him. The boy in the oversized hoodie put the key around his neck and inside his jacket and then left. Slenderman knew today was the day that he would kill the oldest boy and his mother possibly too. He was thinking she possibly knew him as well. The two boys got in the car and drove to the park beside Slenderman's woods. They got out of the car and started to pass the frisbee one after another. The hooded brother ran into the woods after the frisbee was thrown too far. He picked it up and stopped. He stared at the woods that surrounded him. Come on, throw it! The hooded boy could hear his brother yell at him, but he just couldn't stop staring into nothing. The oldest boy walked over to the younger. He rested his hand on his shoulder. Hey, come on, what's up with you? He asked. The younger boy just stared deep into the woods. Oh, hey, cool! The oldest brother exclaimed and ran over to what the hooded boy was staring at. It's a weird drawing. I wonder what it means, the oldest brother told him. The hooded boy looked up in what he was looking at and filled with fear. Don't touch that! The hooded boy yelled fiercely at the brother, remembering his dream. Just don't, he begged his brother. Well, why? He said, ripping it off the tree. Slenderman appeared from nowhere and attacked the absolute teen. Wait! The hooded boy screamed, running towards the suited man. You can't do this! The hooded boy tripped on a tree stump. He looked up in dismay. The tall man killed his brother by suffocation. Tears in his eyes, he stood up and ran towards the tall man. Why would you do such a thing? He screamed, running up to the tall man, making fists and beating him. He probably didn't do much damage, but at least he tried. The dream I had. That was my fate, the hooded boy thought. You did this, he screamed at the tall man. The tall man set his lifeless body gently to the snow. How could you? I was the one who followed you. Why didn't you kill me? He screamed at him. Slenderman stood straight up and towered over the hooded boy. He had tears in his eyes. Slenderman had never seen a human in such distress like the hooded boy. With a tentacle, he lifted the boy up and looked at his sad face. The hooded boy kicked and struggled to get away from here, fearing he too would be crushed. This kid was the one following me, Slenderman thought to himself. The scent of the boy's brother was on his jacket he was still wearing. I followed the stronger scent, but it was really him. Slenderman caught his mistake. The hunting instinct to kill overpowered his thoughts. Slenderman saw the struggle in the boy, the fight, the energy, the power. I wonder, Slenderman thought, how useful a human can be to me. The boy kept missing punches and power to fight was strong. His adrenaline flowing, pumping through his veins. The boy was not scared of me. The boy was not scared of me like the other children were. He was more determined, he thought silently to himself. What do I do with him? I killed his brother, Slenderman said. Slenderman set the boy down in the snow next to his brother's lifeless corpse. He can't hurt me, even if he tried, but I wonder what he would do, Slenderman thought to himself. I usually kill teenagers because if they told another human about me, they would believe them. I'd be in trouble, but I usually don't kill children that often, unless they're alone or unaware of my presence. But this kid knew me, and is really good at taking in his surroundings. It wouldn't be fun killing him just to be cruel, and I usually kill to eat. This kid is different somehow. Why don't you fight back? You can kill so easy. Why don't you kill me too? I don't know what to say. How could you do that? He yelled over all of his kicking, scratching, and failed punching. I leaned down next to the small child. He had a hate look in his eye like no other. He witnessed his brother's murder. He's reaching a level of insanity where there's no turning back. He's driven to hurt me. I haven't spoken to a human before, and I haven't spoken in years. I wonder if my English language is still intact. What can I say to calm him down? Make him sane again? I stared at the boy. I think we're beyond this point. They will tell the humans what happened if he will go crazy and put this kid in the sane asylum. The humans will look for me. That won't be good. He stopped kicking and attempting to hurt me. He fell onto his knees. He looked at the snow, put his hands on his knees, and paused. Why did you do that? He asked. I stood tall above the hooded boy, but I knelt down beside him and placed my large white hand on top of his shoulder. Then it was my turn to pause, until I finally spoke. I'm sorry. The boy made no physical struggle to move my hand. He heard my deep, frightening voice. He slowly turned his up to look at me. You spoke, he chattered in the snow. The boy got up and stood. He stood shorter than me, and I was kneeling. Why don't you have a face? The boy asked. He wasn't afraid of me. In fact, he was curious about me, like he had interest. I was caught off guard by the question. Myself never questioned my own appearance. I don't know how to answer the hooded boy's question. I don't know, I said, looking sad at the snow, my head in downwards position. Oh, well, then why are you wearing a suit? This boy was very interested in me. I just killed his brother, and he's asking me about my appearance. I don't know. Why do you not run like the other humans? I asked in return. He stepped back a few feet from me and looked me up and down. He had this confused look on his face, like he was trying to figure me out. Well, I haven't a clue. I guess you look cool to me, that's all. But I think I know why other people don't like you. I was intrigued by his answer, and lifted my head up in interest. Well, you're just very formal, and you don't have a face, he asked, taking a short pause. People usually can tell if a person's nice or not by the way they look, and since you don't have a face, it's kind of hard to tell if you're good or bad. His answer seemed intelligent, precise. I'd have never thought a human would be afraid of someone who was formally dressed. He continued, and also, you're really tall. You know, compared to me. Those facts were true about me. I stood up tall out of the snow. So, there are no humans this height? I asked him. No, I think you're the only one, he said. I sadly looked down at the snow. So what's your name? The hooded boy asked me. I vaguely remembered the time I was mentioned in a newspaper article. Humans called me sort of things like Tall Man, Tree Man, Slenderman. Slenderman was the most recent. Humans sometimes call me Slenderman, I replied. I'm going to call you Slender for short, though, the boy said, looking at his brother's body. Slender, why did you kill my brother? He asked me. I was nervous to reply. I was supposed to kill this boy, but he's not really a threat or a target anymore. I feel an emotion inside me, like I feel so bad if I did it. I had to, I told the hooded boy. He was my ride home, and you killed him, the boy replied with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry. I wish I could fix it, I told him. Then a thought came into my mind. He doesn't need to go back. If he did, they would send him away. But if he stayed with me, no one would hurt him any more than I have. The humans, they don't believe in me. They don't think I exist. They will think you killed him, I told him, but he shouted back, What? I could never kill my brother. I know it doesn't really matter what he thinks. Anyone will know that he killed him. Think about it. They will think it's you. You know it's not you, but they don't, I told him. He can't go back now. It will ruin his life. I'm sorry I killed him. But you can't go home now without him. You will be exiled from humans, I told him. Oh, so what do I do? Go live in a box? He said with fear, the fear of what would happen in the near future. Well, no, you would stay with me, I told him honestly. He paused, looking at me and thinking about why he couldn't go back. He knew he couldn't, but he was in denial. All right, I'll go, but don't kill me, the hooded boy asked me. I wanted to reassure him I wouldn't harm him in my care. I will protect you. You will live with me and you can do assignments with me, maybe a few chores now and again, but you will be set. I told him I will make sure nothing will happen to him. All right, but is there sleeping and free food? He asked. Of course, she will be my assistant, a proxy, I told him. He seemed confused. Sometimes I forget he's only 11. What's a proxy? He asked cautiously. I took a moment to figure out my words. Well, proxy means something valuable, like you represent something. To me, you will represent an assistant and roommate, I told him. It's getting late. When do you think we can leave? Are you ready to leave at all? I asked him. The hooded boy turned towards the park, then looked at his brother's cold, mangled body. The boy looked up at their car and back, then looked down, then back to me. He looked cold, like he wanted to get out of the snow. We have been standing in the snow for over 2 hours. He seems like he's trying to let go, but can't. I promise you this, I started. You have never told me your name, and you don't have to, but if one day you would like to come back to the memories, we can. You don't need to forget everything. The hooded boy looked up at me. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you my name. I don't deserve one, though. I was puzzled by this, so I questioned him on it. What do you mean? He looked behind me into the forest, and his eyes twitched all around the woods. The sun was setting, and it was quiet back there, but he continued. If I leave with you, everyone will probably think I'm dead. My name and my face don't matter. He had thought of something I hadn't, his face and name. Well, we will have to cover your face. I've got some fabric back where I live, so you can make a mask. But for that whole name thing, you will need to figure it out. I was just about to stand up super tall when he said, Why don't you name me? I'm always named by someone. All the names I pick are always stupid anyway. So name me, he begged innocently. I never named something before. What would I name him? He does have a beige hoodie on, so how about that? Hoodie. I decided to ask him out the name. Why don't I just call you Hoodie? He looked up at his jacket. This is my brother's hoodie. But I guess that will be all right. The newly named boy asked. Actually, it kind of fits me. I am wearing this sweater a lot, Hoodie said. I just got a new name, Hoodie. I don't want to remember my old one. I want to forget my life and leave it all behind. I'll go with Slenderman, and I don't want to die. I think he'll be okay. I feel weird, though, like he's my friend somehow. I guess he's confronting to some and scary to most. I think I'm ready to leave, I said, looking down at my brother. I started crying. Slenderman came over to me and placed a large hand on my shoulder. I know everything will be all right, he promised. I stood taller when I started crying and started walking. Now, where do you live? I asked him. He stopped and stood above me. I live a few miles away in that general direction, he told me, pointing to the woods. He always talks very formal. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go, I said, trying to run. My legs were limited in a foot of snow. I'm still crying, but I don't think he saw. Slenderman grabbed my hand. I was trying to get my feet unstuck in the snow, and he lifted me up. He held me and his tentacles behind him so I could watch where we were walking. No use running in thick snow. he told me. His tentacles were warm, and they also looked thick, black vines. They looked like black, thick vines. They were coming out of his back. Do you live in a nice house? I asked him. I'm very curious of what kind of place a tall monster like him would live in. Yeah, we're almost there. Give it a day time, he told me. A day? It takes a day to get to your house, I screamed. But how are you able to get here to school every day on time? I asked him. Well, Hoodie, I possess the ability to teleport. I can teleport here and there in an instant. I was impressed by his gift. Well, can't you poof us there? I asked him. No, it's not that easy, Hoodie. I can only poof myself, he told me. After a few hours, I began to get sleepy. Then I remembered something remarkable. I felt my dad's butterfly pocket knife in my pocket, my mom's house key around my neck, and I wore my brother's hoodie. I will never see my mom again. She will probably think I killed my brother. It's for the best, if she never sees me again. She won't believe me. She'll think I'm a killer. Well, if I want to go home, I'm sure in a few years I can. I had the key. I started to cry. These items were representing my family. I don't even have a picture to remember them by, just the memories. I began to cry. I can't go back. This is for the best. To go off with a stranger who killed my brother. I guess even if he did kill me, it's for the best. The items Hoodie held were clearly important to him. He started crying. I know he would cherish them for a long time. I wonder when he will get comfortable with living in the living situation when he can get to the mansion. I'm surprised he hasn't been getting sick around me. After a while, when I approach humans, they get sick and cough or spit up blood. I think he's too young to get it. Most of my older victims get it. Children usually don't. We got to the house after a night of walking in the snow. I was cold and the Slenderman looked tired, but not so much. It wasn't much of a house. It was more like a mansion. It was very empty inside, very dark and secluded from public. There were no roads that led to it either. When we went inside the front door was a bit damaged, but we could still manage to get in and lock it. The wallpapers were peeling off the walls, and the wooden floors were creaked and damaged. Go ground level into the room. Go look around and make yourself at home, for this is now yours. Slender told me. I began to walk on the ground level into the rooms, a lot of which had doors that were just laying next to the door frame because they were broken off the hinges. I walked into the room. It was small there. One slightly medium-sized place perfectly in the middle of the wall was a dark red curtain covering it slightly. There was a mattress with dark sheets and thick quilt thrown in place awkwardly on the bed. The bed was placed on a bed frame and sat on the floor. This was my new room. Today I watched Slenderman bring a few new kills, his normal amount for the week. I sat on the couch reading the paper. I noticed the date of the paper. My birthday was a few days ago. I turned 16. I got up off the couch and followed him to the basement where he kept bodies neatly stored. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. I laughed over my coughing. Yes, it has been long since we had a conversation, Hoodie, he replied, placing one body on top of another. I'd taken to the name Hoodie quite well. My own name reminds me too much about me. You know, Hoodie, you've had that cough for a while now. Maybe you should see one of those doctors. I guess he's right, but I haven't seen a doctor in years. I don't have any insurance to see one. I don't have a human guardian to take me either. You're funny, Slenderman. But did you know it was my birthday a few days ago? I asked him. He dropped the body and looked up from where I was sitting on the staircase. Really? I did not know. How old are you now? 16, I answered. Happy 16th birthday, Hoodie, he told me. Thanks. I think I'm going out for a walk a bit, I told him, smiling. All right, be careful. Screw walking. I want to go to town and know if one is nearby. Maybe I'll walk by. I thought as I hurried to my room. I got out some scissors and started cutting holes in the big black beanie one of Slenderman's victims had on. I cut a frown smile in it, and then I cut some shapes out of red curtain and sewed it onto them. It looked really cool, so I wore it for my walk. This is This is good. No one will know what I look like now. I pulled the beanie down over my face and put on my hood like usual. I walked about 5 miles through the forest and came across a small town. I saw a man about 20 went up into the doctor's office. When he got it, he had a small orange bottle filled with pills to the top. He stopped at the curb before crossing the street to his car. Took about 5 of them and ate them dry. He had a cough just like mine. I was about to start walking towards the doctor's office when Slenderman appeared behind me and pulled me down on my knees, where I was. What now? I asked. Do not follow him. That is Tim. He looked down at me, saying, Tim is interesting. He was what you have. That cough you have. I've been stalking him for a while and been very caught up with his friends. He's 20. He seems to have the same similar interests with me as you do, he said. His friends hate me. Tim hates me, and they all do, and they all want me gone, he says. I think you're all right, I told him, coughing violently. Sure you do, he said, laughing. Slenderman barely held an emotion, but he managed to make me consider him as a friend. We both followed this Tim guy for a while. Slenderman got this weird-looking mask and left it around Tim's house. From time to time again, he would put it on and change his personality. He would hang out, and I named him Masky. We would do all sorts of crazy stuff together. I didn't know where Slenderman got this mask from, but when Tim puts it on, he's Masky, and when he takes it off, he's Tim. He doesn't remember anything he does when he's Masky. This way, he doesn't know his own name. So when he takes off the mask again, he's... We would do this so often until I turned 17. Then his friends started hating his other personality. His friend's ex-friend Alex is trying to kill me. Tim and this other guy named Jay, who always had a camera. I began to follow Alex and sleeping in this rundown hospital. I started carrying around a gun too. It's been like this for a while, and I don't exactly know where Slender is going with this. But I've been alone in this house so long that it might be kind of fun to play with these guys. I barely talk anymore. I've been breaking into Masky's house and stealing his pills. They help with the coughing, headaches, and little seizures I've been having. I can't exactly tell what side I'm on anymore. I want to help Tim and Jay with Alex and Slenderman, but Slenderman is my friend in a way. He took me in as one of his own. I don't know what battle to fight. I'm in the middle again. Just like my brother. Do I stay or do I go? It's been a year, and I'm going with this whole Marble Hornets crowd. Slenderman has plenty of proxies living with us now. I don't really talk to any of them, though. I feel weird around him. Jeff is someone new, and he came just a few months ago, just wandering around killing everyone. Ben came after Smile.jpg, and there are lots more. I guess it's kind of nice to be around people who are similar to you. I stay in my room most of the time, though, especially watching someone on YouTube videos with Slender in them. They are funny because he doesn't want to kill them all. Just a few select. Everyone I live with is known on the internet as creepypasta. I'm in there too. No one really knows my story, though, so it's kind of fine to me. But people like Jeff and Ben get written about a ton. I'm in a few of Jay's videos, which is probably why people know me. I just sit back in my chair and read. I still hold my knife with me and wear my keys all the time since the day I've had to go all through these things, including my brother's hoodie, which I wear the time along with my mask, hanging out in my room alone. Just any normal